Before I start, is there any Blue Jays fans around here? I guess a lot of people flew in. I'm a Giants fan, so. So this is about how we applied some of the simple concepts from Remix to the admin, like he said. So this is some kind of fast facts about the admin. The admin is admin.shopify.com. It's where you go change everything about your store. Merchants essentially live inside the admin. It is their entire business. It's their source of truth for everything they do, for their whole business a lot of the time. So we have scale problems. We have 67 million daily page views, typical kind of scale problems, sorry. And we have a ton of code. Microsoft told us we're one of the largest TypeScript single apps that they knew of a few years ago, so I'm not sure if we still are, but we're pretty big. We have lots of teams contributing to it, over 100, making all these different products, different sections that we call them, like products, product variants, taxes, markets, all that kind of stuff. So we have this problem of contribution scale with tons of people contributing to this giant repo that's loading all this stuff, and we're trying to make it good. So this can be a little bit chaotic sometimes. We're trying to create a unified experience. These are some of the problems that I have to deal with kind of every day. We want fast page loads. We want to have no duplication of effort. We want to have a consistent design. And we want to have instrumentation for everything in the same way. We want to be able to search it. This is the stuff that's asked of me of like, how do we make it feel cohesive, essentially? And then they came to us and said, oh, and we want it to be AI enabled, just like the stock price depends on it and all this stuff. So LLMs change Shopify's priorities a lot. We're very LLM forward here. And the admin, we want to make it very AI accessible. And I'm talking a little bit about how Remix helped us with that. So the first thing we did was The first thing we did was we migrated to Vite and React Router, and we had this giant file making up all the routes programmatically, and a bunch of separate files for the different sections that are in the admin, and a big helper file that was separate that was mapping URLs to other stuff, and it was just kind of chaos. We used query everywhere. We didn't have any loaders. We had React context all over the place, like everywhere, and it was nightmare, my nightmare. And we had form handling different from every team. So it was just chaos. This was me when I joined. Not that the team wasn't great. The team was really, really good. It was just a very transitionary time, and the admin had been around a long time, so we had to make some adjustments. So we had inconsistent loading skeletons on every single page. We had slow page loads. We had no source of truth for other systems like Sidekick, which is our AI, the chatbot, and Search. They all had their own manually, like, these are the routes I care about. I don't know where the routes are. If they change in one place, if they change in the app, we're screwed because it's just going to point to a dead link. And then AI only knew about the forms. Like, it could only form fill through the DOM at runtime looking at the form. I could not even tell you how many routes we had in the admin. Nobody knew how many routes we had in the admin, which is kind of crazy. We had guesses, and the guesses were not correct. So the first thing, it's like something we kind of came up with to solve our problem was this idea of these route manifests, which are we have this huge repo, all these contributing teams. It's just these files that you drop into the repo called .route.manifest.ts, the TypeScript files that are compiled out to kind of JSON. These became our big source of truth. They have the loader, the action handler, and then a bunch of annotations needed for these kind of other systems. And then we had a custom link component to like help us handle the IDs to like actual routes and like, convert things so that you could pass IDs around everywhere and you could change paths and stuff like that, and you would still get to the same place. So those are all things that React Router helped us with to start. And we had this now statically analyzable route list, essentially. So I'm going to demo that a little bit. That's my demo. Anybody know this meme? Yeah, it's Elmo. It's Elmo. It's a big Shopify meme, Elmo. Well, this guy particularly. By the way, the AI makes me look weird in all the pictures, I feel like.
It's not just you.
Like, my hat does not have the right characters on it. Let's see. So this is an example of our product details page, route manifest. You can see that we do some kind of interesting things, like we encapsulate our loader, our action, our form, so that we can kind of run them independently. That's kind of useful, that I'll talk about later. And we attach this thing to all routes, which is our route schema, or our form schema, which is a giant dynamic Zod schema. And this one's big for this page, and it has imports and all that stuff. But it's really just a file that we drop. And then it has things like, here's like search metadata, so they can update search metadata, terms. Sidekick can put annotations in there. We have things like eligibility for the routes, so we handle eligible. This one's eligible for everybody. Everybody can look at a product, but some routes, you don't have permissions, and we want to handle it in a consistent way and not even go to GraphQL and get an error. We just want to know this route's not accessible. We don't want to show this link in our link component, stuff like that. So these are kind of the files, and I can take you through like the action function. You can see it's just a big action that gets returned, but these can all be lazy loaded, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Same with our loaders. Just a big loader function. And then our form schema takes the dynamic loader data, so you can adjust what the form schema outputs based on what was loaded for that record, which becomes important for some things we do. Figure out how to, oh, and I'm also going to show this real quick. So now we know how many routes we have, and it's all completely statically analyzable, and we can see, have they converted to having a loader? Do they have a component? Because we actually have some routes that don't have components. And then all this other metadata information, and we can see that we have 1,116 routes. So it's a lot of routes. And then we can look at cool stuff like on the metadata, like I can see the eligibility metadata for this route. It just becomes really less chaotic than we had. I can see all the search metadata for this. We do these breadcrumbs that we load a little early, so we can like see them in the loading animation. So we have kind of special stuff handling that. It's become a dumping ground for just everything, but at least it's like we can manage it and we can look at it statically. Let's see. Elmo's back. Let's see. All right, so let's talk about loaders. So then we migrated all the routes to React Router and these route manifests. We needed to start doing loaders for performance. We wanted to remove all the use query and remove the loading skeletons. Every page was loading like totally different, like popping in all over the place. It was just super not consistent. We wanted to start using view transitions. We had some people that worked here that worked on view transitions, and we wanted to be kind of cutting edge. So we had some ideas for like how we could animate beautifully with view transitions, and React Router started supporting it. And then we wanted to start using the context that loaded earlier outside of React, so we could start loading the context much earlier in the waterfall. And we ended up using signals to pass data down into React. So React tried to become like our last leg of the page load. This is like the simplified waterfall. that we have for our app. We load some, it's all a single page app. We actually do no SSR. So we're doing remix spa mode on it. But we do load some stuff from the server, some upfront details from GraphQL. Just like crucial data around the session, always necessary data, and then we start loading these context providers further out. That's the first thing we do. Try to kick off our GraphQL as soon as possible. Everybody wants their data as soon as possible. And then everything else is like lazy loaded assets, like those loaders, all that stuff. It's all lazy loaded like after we feel like we're kicked off that data fetch. And then we want to run the loader as soon as possible and kick off React and loading that stuff later in the timeline. I can talk about this waterfall for a long time. It's not exactly like this. There's probably more parallelization. Things kind of get moved around. We kick stuff off a little earlier, but this is like the critical path that we want to look at. If you want to talk about why we don't use SSR, you can find me, and it's a long conversation.
Can you give us the 30-second version of why you don't use SSR?
Right now, we've determined that it's not going to give us performance benefits, and it's a lot to manage on the servers. This is really easy. We have a lot. The admin's unique because it's all returning customers. Like, people are not fresh coming, so that, we benefit a lot from cache in the browser. Is that enough? 30 seconds, or you want?
That's a valid architecture, right? The decision that you made to use a spa, right? There's no one solution that fits every app, right?
Yeah, I hope it's a valid architecture, or I should. Yeah, hopefully, yeah. Is this a performance review or something like that? No, just kidding. We've been questioned at the highest levels why we're not SSRs. Just bring that up. I think we actually are going to investigate things like server run loaders. There's opportunities for optimization. It's just where we're at right now. It's very easy to manage all the bundles on the CDN. Find me. We could talk a long time about it. Nice. He's on my review. Okay. So performance. This is some like little tricks we got from using React Router and loaders. That's kind of odd that I just wanted to call out. We do stuff like pre-fetching loaders and running them so that we can pre-fill the cache for all of our GraphQL before we even get to the next page. We have heuristics about which routes we should preload. And we even do it whenever you click a link down, we always preload the next route. We preload the loader because that's a free 60 milliseconds. Or if it's like a grandma, it's 120 milliseconds because they click really slow. We also use a persisted cache. We write our GraphQL cache to IndexedDB. So when you come back to the admin, because we have so many returning customers or merchants, they get to keep some of their GraphQL cache, and we have some stuff around that. It's not a lot of people are using that based on how much little stars I've seen on the GitHub repos around this kind of persisted data cache for GraphQL. Another little demo is back. A sec. The first thing I'm going to show is how we our view transitions, so we have no more loading skeletons. Everything's handled page to page through a view transition. We have a pretty simple one. We've thought about doing more complex ones. There's hard parts about view transitions too. I can go a lot into that as well if you want to talk about view transitions. So this is our view transition. You can see how quickly, once the data is loaded, it's very quick, and it has that kind of nice crossfade, and there's no skeletons. And if it's a longer page, you see we kind of, I'll do it a few more times. If there's a longer load, this one's loaded, but then if I load something new, you see we kind of default to a blank screen, and then you get the fast ones when you have the stuff. But we have no more skeletons. I wanted to show some of that cool prefetching. I just like to open my dev tools. If I click that, you can see when I click down. Oh, yeah.
Just a quick question. The widget in the bottom right, what is that thing it looks like?
Oh, you can, that's just for us, Shopify. Sorry. This is if you want to know how we develop at Shopify, this is kind of interesting. Like I'm actually running a local dev server right here against prod. So this is all served from my local machine. You can see this cool little local development. So if you work here, you can get access to that. This is our dev UI tab, which gives us all sorts of crazy stuff that we can do with the dev. That's a whole nother talk if you want to talk about that.
Why do you guys dislike the skeletons? Is it just how they look or the
Inconsistency. Yeah, it was completely different page to page. UX wanted something clean that was always the same. And we wanted to load as much upfront as we could. People were doing the wrong stuff in different routes. A lot of can talk. It's kind of a UX decision more than a developer decision, but I had to implement it for them. So I showed the prefetching. On some pages, you would see, depending on beta flags and stuff like that, like a bunch of prefetches going off once the browser has idle time. But yeah. So that's anyways, we're a lot faster. Because of our waterfall now, you can see we can do these quick. We also do a lot of stale while revalidate. So that's a huge part of the admin is stale while revalidate because of the persisted cache and returning customers. And it's another technical decision we made. Let's get into cooler stuff. Okay, so then we have this, new idea that we just shipped recently called Intense. Anybody heard of Intense? Cool. It was a big part of my life, so it's fine. we just shipped it 2 weeks ago. 3P devs are pretty happy about it, but it basically is like a way to open any admin page globally accessible on top of any other page. It handles being able to call things from one page to another, which without rebuilding components all the place, and we can return data from a form to another form, so everybody can kind of reuse functionality. It's like kind of treats the admin like an operating system is what we're looking at, and this has big effects for AI. And it also helps a lot with dirty state. Like people used to have to do things like, I got to create a collection. Crap, I can't save what I'm doing because I can't put a collection on it. I got to go leave my dirty state, navigate somewhere else, open it up, change it, come back. Now we can actually just be like pop up an intent, which we're calling a page stack, like this thing that pops up. But then 3P can do the same thing too. They can go off and they can open the product form. They don't have to rebuild their own product form. They get our product form and they can get the product back after they do it. They can add their UI extensions to it and then have their own custom app. So it's pretty cool, even if you guys haven't heard of it. Yeah, so I think I addressed all these things on here. So yeah, it's a new thing. I'll show it in a minute. And I can talk about why this is cool for AI. I'll let you read my meme. So one thing we did was we made a consistent form handler for all the pages. We created the schemas, like I talked about before. We have these dynamic ZOD schemas to teach AI, and also so AI can learn about a form and programmatically interact with the form. And forms can now be known outside the route because we've encapsulated it in that form function. And we have programmatic form filling APIs because we know how to fill it, even if we're not on a route. And then we have the Remix simple action lifecycle. So we can actually submit forms from AI without even opening the component because Remix is so simple. We just post to our action, just like the form would post to the action. AI can do it instead of the person, like AI is going to do for everything. Yeah, so that's what we kind of call headless, is the ability for AI to like operate on the admin without opening any component or showing anything to the user. Or they can show it in the same way the user would see it. So it's like one-to-one. And some of the concepts look similar to what Kent was talking about previously. So it's kind of cool to see the convergence between like what we did and what he was talking about. So basically, yeah, this has really opened up the options for, like, if we have this consistency for all the routes, we can do some really cool stuff with AI. And I think that that's powered by just super simple concepts from Remix. Keeping it simple really helps in some of these cases. Okay, let me see, go back to my... Close this. First, I'll show you guys like an intent. So you can think like, well, I think there's actually one I can show you that's already implemented on here. So if I'm on the product page now and I say add a collection, that pops up. This is the collection page. So this is the new instance of React Router. And they can change this. They can change their route. They can do whatever they want. I fill this. I click save. I don't know if this is going to work. Yeah, so it created the collection, and then the collection is filled into the previous form. And you can think that that's really beneficial for 3P, for third-party developers, so that they can do the same thing, go off, do all this cool stuff without, because previously they had to rebuild it all with their own, with the APIs, the backend APIs. And now they get it for free. So if they open the collection form and we made some cool new collection feature, they get that cool feature. So I'm going to show, so that's intense, and you can see that these can stack. If I go back to my little secret panel that you guys don't get, I can load, I can just keep popping these things up, and they can link all the way down through. So you can say like, this one depends on this one, this one depends on this one, this one depends on this one. So it's kind of taking an operating system concept. It's like more, it can go infinite until the browser runs out of memory. And then I want to talk a little bit about, and Felipe after me is going to get into how AI is using this, but I'm going to talk about like how that programmatic form filling is pretty cool. So if I go back to my console, I have a little window object here that I can, I'm going to copy and paste this. So this is going to invoke an intent and already have it pre-filled. So that you can think like we could be loading and the LLM could already know what the form is and be like finding, pre-filling the data without having to like load it, then go into the DOM and then figure out what am I supposed to do. It's like, I know what I'm supposed to do, load it, and I'm going to in the background be running the LLM, and I'm going to be ready with the data as soon as we get there. So you can see that I did that from the console. I loaded this form, no DOM manipulation. It knows how to validate it because of the Zod, and and LLMs are really, I didn't mention this, LLMs are really good at Zod, right? They're trained on Zod. They know how to provide valid data because of Zod. So having that thing that we can give to the LLM makes the LLM a lot better at managing it. And you can see that it pre-filled the data with what I said. If you want to look at my command again, I filled the description and I filled the title, and it kind of highlighted those fields with a little animation, and it did it all programmatically. And there's a lot of we're like doing things like he was talking about. We're adding like MCP tools to different routes. So when you load up a route, you get some tools, stuff like that, cool stuff like that to help the AI. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about that stuff though, but whatever. For you guys. Cool, I got a couple minutes left. You can even do this form filling, like I do it on intent there. You can do it on just regular navigations. You can just say, just navigate me over this route. It's all the same APIs. You can pre-fill it. So it's like different ways to slice that onion, I guess. I don't know. I just wanted to finish with talking about what's kind of top of mind for like next things for the admin, because we kind of shipped all this stuff. I'm thinking a lot about how to make fully dynamic pages and have those pages load fast. I'm also thinking about how to integrate components like he's talking about. into chatbots, but more like how can chatbots create custom merchant UIs for us, like to make a custom UI for like a merchant-specific business. Like you can think they might want their own product flow that ties to this analytics, or they might want to create like an automatic like button they click that automatically does these things for their business because they do that every day, 15 times a day. So how do we create those like dynamic UIs with dynamic components that still load fast, like pulling data up into the loaders, keeping the same waterfall. So the idea of like smart components that AI can cook with is kind of what I've been thinking about a lot. And then we're doing stuff like letting the LLM write glue code to glue these dynamic UIs together. And how do we keep that safe? Felipe might talk about it, but we have some technologies like Remote DOM at Shopify to help sandbox code for all that kind of glue code. And yeah, this is kind of my, and then also things like how do I execute the same things I would do online, offline, but like without even being in the browser, but still get people to, but people have to write the code in that way because all of our business logic, a lot of our business logic lives in the browser, you know, so I'm thinking a lot about how code separation lives and where people write code and where they put it and how to transform millions and millions of lines of code that exist to new places. So yeah, so this is just my top of mind. If anybody wants to talk to me about that kind of stuff, I'm always interested. Oh, if you guys like route manifest legal, made me patent that, so just call it something else or something. I don't know if you use it. That's it for my talk.